everyone, and welcome to The Hash, where we bring you the latest and greatest in crypto and culture. My name is Naomi Brockwell. Today on the show, we have the gang back together, Jen Sanasi, Will Foxley, and Zach Seward. Welcome to the show, guys. And we're going to kick off by talking about FTX. Zach, what's going on with FTX now?
Let's talk about FTX. Let's also talk about centralized crypto exchanges rushing in to be NFT trading venues. That's what the story is really about. Forget FTX, forget Coinbase. What's happening here is all these exchanges are wanting to serve their customers with this crazy NFT stuff. So FTX US, you'll remember they rolled out Solana-based NFTs, I think in October. Now they're adding the big guns, the Ethereum NFTs. Someone who is in the know told us that the Solana thing just didn't work out a ton for them. It was a little bit underwhelming. So now they're bringing out some of the top PFP projects in Ethereum land and seeing if that will activate their users to sling some JPEGs. I'm going to throw this straight to Will. Will, when you see Bored Ape Yacht Club and other stuff like that being added to the FTX US NFT marketplace, what are your thoughts?
My thought was about OpenSea and how they've kind of dominated the whole NFT marketplace to date. And FTX was coming in and they're kind of undercutting it, right? They dropped the fees from 2.5% to 2%. They're kind of changing the bidding structure so you don't have as much gas fees whenever you're interacting with the platform. They're basically just making it easier and smoother. And that's the thing OpenSea is going to have to deal with if they're going to continue to be a predominant crypto exchange going forward, is the competition that's coming in to undercut their market. It's crazy just to think about where OpenSea was and is now. OpenSea was it's always been an NFT marketplace. It's been there for years. No one really knew about it until January and February. It started popping off as the predominant destination to place NFTs and bid on them and purchase them. Now there's more people moving into the room, and you see FTX is moving in there. Coinbase is moving in there. I think we're going to see more exchanges continue to do that. And they kind of have an edge in the sense that they've been doing this exchange stuff for years. OpenSea it's been doing NFTs for years, but on the bidding side, there might not be as much sophistication as you get with an FTX or a Coinbase. So I'm interested to see OpenSea's reaction to this, especially once Coinbase jumps into the room and seeing if OpenSea drops some of their fees and if they kind of can combat this on the economic front. Naomi, I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, I just had a point I wanted to mention. You mentioned that they're decreasing the percentage fee structure, Will. And the reason they're able to do that is because FTX is taking custody of all listed Ethereum NFTs. So they said that this will save users money. And meanwhile, comparison to OpenSea leaves owners in control of their assets until sale. And so it's just kind of interesting that they're focusing mainly on fees, money, usability, and all of that. Whereas the traditional crypto ethos and where NFTs first began, it was about ownership. And so that narrative's kind of shifted there. I mean, I can't say that it's a bad play from FTX. If they're not getting the customers in, then they're, obviously experimenting with ways to do it. And clearly with their market, their user base doesn't really seem to be concerned with ownership of assets. It does make me a little worried that maybe people don't quite understand what NFTs are if they're going to get into this, because really, if you're buying something that's astronomically priced, it's, some sort of JPEG, like you kind of want control of that token yourself, because a lot of this stuff relies on the code behind NFTs being like the location of your JPEG has to be run by someone or it has to be decentralized. So they're relying on FTX staying around and them custodying it. And so this thing isn't in perpetuity anymore. This thing is reliant on this company staying in existence. So it's an interesting caveat people should be aware of. But Zach, I'm going to throw it back to you.
I think that's like the really interesting point, right? So there's decentralization trade-offs. And I think as crypto goes mainstream, we're seeing a lot of these tensions kind of come to the fold, right? Okay, decentralization is great, but the fees for doing stuff on chain on Ethereum, where a lot of these projects live, are through the roof, where it makes it so that unless you're transacting a really high value NFT, you're spending a high percentage of your funds just to list, purchase, transfer that asset. So I think as new people come into this space, it's going to be really interesting to see if sort of how that tension kind of continues to unfold, right? There's the benefits of decentralization, right? Self-custody, etc. But people sometimes like the convenience of a centralized exchange saying, hey, forget those crazy gas fees that you're paying on OpenSea. We'll do it for you and we'll hold it for you. And hey, if you want to flip it into something more liquid soon, hey, we can do that too. So it's going to be interesting to see what this next wave of crypto users tends to prioritize, and whether it's sort of NFT marketplaces or some of these other base layers themselves. There are some decentralization trade-offs that present some interesting questions to people in the space who've been here for a while. I saw Jen had her hand up, but I also saw Will had his hand up. So I'm going to toss to Jen and let you guys take it.
Well, mine's just a quick thought. We don't have FTX here in Canada, so I couldn't experience this firsthand. But it was a little bit surprising for me to hear that the Solana NFTs didn't take off on FTX, especially given how much they have invested financially and just in their energy and the way they talk about Solana, especially SBF. He's a big supporter of Solana, and it made me think about the NFTs that are associated with the different chains. And while Ethereum NFTs are still the most expensive, they have the highest gas fees, they still seem to be doing the best. And I wonder if any of you have any insight into that. Why are Ethereum NFTs so far ahead of all of these other NFTs on other chains?
Yeah, I can snag that really quick before we move to the next topic. I think it's just a matter of what is the prime real estate, like digital real estate, in terms of people's understanding of the blockchain ecosystem. Ethereum is a household name now. Solana is not. Bitcoin's a household name. Ethereum is. Solana is still very new. Just because FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried dumped a lot of money into it doesn't mean other people are going to value it the same way at this point in time. Solana is still just a competitor to Ethereum. Ethereum, I think, has kind of captured the imagination of a lot of developers out there. And there's a lot more integrations too, like across the board and web wallets and whatnot. So if you want to buy an NFT on Ethereum, it's a little bit easier than buying a Solana NFT. Zach, I'll give it to you really quick.
Plus, it's where the blue chips live, right? Crypto punks are necessarily an Ethereum phenomenon. Apes are necessarily an Ethereum phenomenon. So some of these blue chip projects live on Ethereum. It's going to be interesting to see, though. All these base layers are going to have their own little NFT ecosystem, whether it's Solana, whether it's Terra, whether it's any number of other chains that are looking to offer those table stakes to their users. All right, we're going to change gears here. I'm going to toss it to Will. Will, you got it.
Okay, we're moving over to Bitcoin mining. We're going to talk about Marathon Digital and Compute North. Marathon Digital is a self-mining company in the US and Canada, and Compute North is a hosting provider in the US and Canada. And they've signed a letter of intent to host 100,000 Bitcoin miners at Compute North facilities across the US and Canada. This comes after an initial signing of intent back in May that had about 70,000 miners being signed up to be hosted at these locations, and they've added an additional 30,000 miners. I think the interesting takeaway, just I guess maybe from my perspective, is that you have a larger and growing ecosystem of North American miners. Of course, we saw that with the China ban in June when Bitcoin mining was banned over there. But a lot of these miners who are placing machines, they're from previous orders and they're from capital raising on US stock exchanges. They're not from Chinese miners coming over to the US, at least not as much as you're seeing with some of these larger companies like Marathon Digital. Another interesting part is that Marathon Digital will, after this deployment, be about 8% of the Bitcoin network's hash rate. That would mean that about all 8% of Bitcoin transactions are being processed by a US company. Naomi, I'm going to throw this over to you. We've seen a huge boon in Bitcoin mining in the US. Doesn't seem like it's really, we've seen like the Chinese companies coming over, but slowly it's more been about these US companies raising capital and deploying new machines.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a mix. My understanding is that a lot of people in China were actually leaving even before the ban. They were kind of figuring out that, writing's on the wall, we need to get out. And so you did start to see mobilization prior of pools and mining companies. I think mining companies were a later holdout than pools. Pools left earlier, and then miners stayed around because they had access to really cheap electricity. So I presume that there wasn't much incentive to leave. But it's interesting seeing, like, if what you're saying is that it's mainly new US spin-ups rather than the Chinese people migrating over. Have you seen collaborations? Like, it wouldn't surprise me if, in order to get into the US, a lot of these Chinese miners were actually teaming up with existing US entities to make the transition easier, because it's not easy to set up shop in America. You know, there are tight border controls. And my other question is, if everything is moving towards renewables, when is Elon going to get back on board? He said he wanted to see more renewable energy. Listen, we delivered. We shut it all down in China. We're getting people to use renewables. Elon, what more do you want? How long do we have to wait? But Will, I'll throw it back to you in case you have any answer to that potential collaboration question.
Yeah, I mean, we cannot be beholden to Elon. We're Bitcoin. We're beholden to nobody. So can't do that.
It just makes me sad.
Don't give in so quickly.
What's the name of that thing, Will? Was it the Green Bitcoin Mining Council? What was it? It was the Green. What was the name of that thing?
Something like that.
No.
When was that? Remember when Elon?
There was the Bitcoin Mining Council.
It was the North American Mining.
Bitcoin Mining Council was in May, and that was with Michael Saylor. They brought in Elon. I haven't seen a lot of conversations around that so far. They do mostly like quarterly updates, so. I think just go for the update per quarter. To answer Naomi's question,
it was just a PR stunt. Goodness, it was
never.
Anyway.
No way.
Sorry, Will.
No attack the council. No. Just to get back to your original question, I think that most of these orders, this was based on conversations I've had with industry partners. Most of these orders are from U.S. companies raising capital and then deploying it from Bitmain, WhatsMiner, all these other machine manufacturers out there. Today, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of collaboration between Chinese miners coming over and U.S. companies. In some instances, you'll see like Chinese companies partnering with hosting solutions. Compute North would be an example of a hosting solution, but for the most part, these Chinese miners are operating by themselves. BitDeer is one large Chinese miner that came over to the US, and they're building a 400 megawatt site in Rockdale, Texas, right across the street from Riot, which is a US company that's publicly listed. And they're also building a 400 megawatt site. So you kind of see like this odd situation where we kind of have an extension of tough relations between the Chinese government and the US government, but between Chinese companies and U.S. companies, and it's in the middle of Midwest America.
Midwest America. Well, you know where we're going to go? Let's go to Latin America. Let's take a break, and then let's go to Latin America, because I got a little something for you about Pitbull. Pitbull signing with the Tezos-based NFT platform, OneOf, to be a brand ambassador for that outfit. Hey, you know what Pitbull says? He says, Dale. All right, stick with us. We're taking a break. Come back, and we'll chat about that and more on The Hash.
Hi, I'm Christine Lee.
Zach Seward.
I'm Michael Casey.
I'm Christy Harkin.
I'm Isaiah Jackson.
I'm Serena Lynn.
Hey, this is Will Foxley.
I'm Teresa Santos.
Hi, I'm Lawrence Lewitton.
Hi, I'm Dorian Wayne.
I'm Nicolas Day.
Hi, I'm Kevin Worth.
My name is Naomi Brockwell.
I'm Jordan Muthra.
Hi, I'm Galen Moore.
Hi, I'm Brad Count.
I'm Pete Paschal.
Hi, I'm Jen Sanasi.
You're watching. And you are watching.
And you're watching CoinDesk TV.
Oh, it's me. Sorry, I was mesmerized. There's so many people there to like memorize the names of. I was like trying to replay it. I'm like, oh God, it's Kevin, it's Will. I don't know. I've already lost all of them. But it's great. We got a new little teaser there for CoinDesk TV. So thanks to everyone who is tuning in on YouTube right now or elsewhere. We're going to dive into the world of NFTs again. This one, a very interesting one that's very close to my heart. We'll talk about the takeaways that the wider Bitcoin community have taken from this. So Ross Ulbricht has decided to launch some NFTs. He is raising money for different charitable needs. There are also personal needs of his. There's ongoing fights that he's going through, his family is persisting with in order to get clemency, because it was an absolute tragedy what happened to him, miscarriage of justice. Anyone who was at the hearing can attest to that. It was all completely politically motivated. We could dive into that in a second, but let's dive into the NFTs. So there's a series of work from Russ. He has taken to the art world since being wrongfully imprisoned. I'm going to have to stop charging this conversation. I'm just going to keep adding in those jabs, but this it makes me angry what happened. But to give you an idea of how the crypto community reacted to all of this, you've got a bunch of maximalists who hate NFTs in general, who are like, this is a perversion of Bitcoin, and because Bitcoin isn't an NFT, we don't like anything that isn't Bitcoin. So they're kind of ganging up on this. But I think that Crypto Cobain's takeaway was the best. He says there are a bunch of Bitcoin maxis trying to cancel Ross Ulbricht for selling NFTs to raise money for charity for people incarcerated. One tweet says, way to lose your fan base. This man is in jail for life and did more for Bitcoin than all of the Laser Eye cult combined. Bidding Ross NFTs. I would like to give a hat tip to Cobain, Crypto Cobain, for speaking out about that. I completely agree, and I think it's atrocious and embarrassing that so many maxis are coming down hard on Ross Ulbricht. If you know anything about the history of Bitcoin, then you know that this is not a man that you should be throwing shade at all. This is actually a tragedy that occurred to him. So I'm going to throw it to the group for your thoughts. I'm probably going to bid on this. I don't know about you guys, but it's a great cause and a great person leading it. But any other takeaways? Will, I'll throw to you to start off with.
Yeah, Crypto Cobain was definitely the voice of wisdom here, which you would not expect with a handle like that. But we did see like a lot of Bitcoin maximalists out there just kind of charged up over NFTs. They basically, it's like this cultural phenomenon we see in crypto, and it mostly lives on the Twitterverse, where people like their favorite coin, and anything that doesn't have their favorite coin is therefore vile and evil and shouldn't be associated with. And it doesn't even matter if someone's a hero in the crypto space or if someone has done something that kind of puts them in legendary status like Ross. If you move across the party lines, you just get pillared, just like we saw here with this tweet storm, which is pretty sad. It's sad that that's the way it is. It's also kind of not shocking. I think we've seen a few instances of this over the last few years. And I think I had a tweet about this, and mostly I think it's about a lot of people who are moving to the space, and they haven't been around for a while. They're pretty new here, and they kind of associate with the group, becomes extremely tribal, and then all their takes just kind of fall within those tribal lines. And it takes a while for them to kind of see that there's a history here. This is only like a 13-year-old project, Bitcoin and all the other cryptocurrencies out there. But they do have a history, and it's important to know that history before giving any hot takes out there. Jen, I'll throw it up to you.
These people are so annoying. So Ross was sentenced to a double life sentence in prison, and I think that it's great that he has come out with this project to help. Is it to help people who have been wrongfully imprisoned, Naomi?
That's right. So he has this big campaign where he mainly is focusing on like victimless crimes, it's drug use. He's really battling that area because he's met so many people whose lives were destroyed because they were found with marijuana on their possession. Like, it's crazy that even as the war on drugs, we're realizing that it's a complete failure. The federal government still has these mandates in place. So you can have all the states, figuring out their own policies. And yet with the federal laws still in place, the states are still taking a risk because you could have the DOJ just come in and arrest people anyway because they will supersede that. And so it's really sad to see all of these people whose lives were destroyed for these awful rules. And even as they're changing, these people aren't getting released from prison. They're still there for these archaic laws that no one agrees with anymore. And so it's just tragic. Ross has taken it up as a cause for these people who he doesn't believe should be behind bars. So I think it's fantastic. But I'll throw it back to you, Jen.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I know that Ross's family have been fighting ever since he was in prison to get him released. And I would love for you to take us through that timeline. I know we only have one more minute left in this segment, but just quickly take us through that timeline. And if there are any updates, I mean, we're in 2021 now. He's still behind bars, and it's just such a really sad story. I spoke to his mom, I believe, at a conference years ago, and just hearing from her, I was like, this is the worst story, and justice should be done for him, and I hope that we see it soon. But talk us through that.
Absolutely. And word on the street was that he almost got a pardon from Trump. So did Assange. But then Trump backed out at the last minute. It was just absolutely devastating for everyone involved in trying to make that happen. But so where it ended up is they failed in the appeals process. They are still trying to get presidential pardons. That is their main focus ground at the moment. But the whole thing, I mean, the two lead investigators who were responsible for putting him behind bars then went to jail themselves for fraud involved with the same case. And yet we're taking all of this digital evidence that wasn't allowed to be cross-examined by the defense, mind you. We're taking it all at face value and from these corrupt officers who were charged with fraud later on. So it's like, is this crazy scenario? It was completely politically driven. The New York DOJ, just like she wanted to, Catherine Forrest, I think her name was. It was like this big political statement. Bitcoin was coming out of the woodwork. You know, there's also this war on drugs mentality still going on. And so they wanted to make an example of this person who's never hurt anyone in his life. There's all kind of FUD around the case as well. Lots of people will throw smears out there. But if you actually look at what Ross was charged with while he's behind bars, completely victimless person. He created a website. That's the essence of it. So really, really sad that we have him behind bars and not as a member of the community where he could be making things safer for everyone. And there's a lot of research to back that up. But I'll change track here. Something a little more fun than talking about people who are wrongfully incarcerated. Jen, I will throw it to you.
Thank you. We almost had a whole show about NFTs today, but Will had to throw a spanner in the works. Anyways,
not bad.
Pitbull has signed a multi-year deal with NFT platform OneOf. So you'll remember, this is the platform that is releasing predominantly music NFTs. It's backed by Quincy Jones. They raised a massive seed round earlier this year. I believe it was $63 million. And now they've partnered with Pitbull. Sources told CoinDesk that bringing Pitbull on board is a play to appeal to Latin America. So I don't know about you guys, but I haven't heard from Pitbull in a long time. And if he released an NFT, I don't know what it would be. But I do think that maybe there's a rebrand here. Maybe he could go from Mr. Worldwide to Mr. Metaverse and just really adopt the whole futuristic thing. No one's with me on that one.
That was a good attempt.
I mean, I'm trying. I'm just trying to entertain the people.
I'll take the baton. I'll take that one up. So yeah, no concrete NFT plans from Mr. Metaverse just yet. But I think the story here to me is just like these big old celebrity partnership ambassadors stuff keeps coming. There's still room to get celebrity spokespeople. Look at that guy. There's still room to get celebrity spokespeople on board as these firms go mainstream. So I think we've seen this a lot with like FTX and like all the sports people that they have. They have Shohei Ohtani in baseball. They have Steph Curry in basketball. They have Tom Brady, of course, in football. You know, we're seeing this across the board. We had Matt Damon doing a Crypto.com commercial the other day. So now we have Pitbull doing one of Tezos NFTs. And it's just funny. I don't know. It's just funny to me to see the people who come in here and, adopt the mantle of, hey, we're bringing crypto to the masses, and they each sort of activate their own fan base. And this guy's fan base is quite large. So it could be interesting to see what comes of OneOf. This is also the outfit that's working with the Grammys to do NFTs there. So yeah, they're going hard for like established entertainment icons. I don't know. Gonna be interesting to see who they sign next. I'll toss it to you, Will.
Yeah, two thoughts from this. The Tezos play, that kind of happened in August when Tezos NFTs had a run. So I wonder if they planned this in August and they didn't realize how fast things move here, because I haven't heard of a Tezos-based NFT project in quite a while, or at least a few months.
You're going to get so much shade. You're going to get so much shade for saying that. Last time we talked about Tezos and their sports car partnership.
The three Tezos armies.
Why aren't you keeping up? I would say just a word out to the Tezos community. If people don't know what's going on about your project, like really press into that PR. Look at what FTX is doing, where they're just like really going at it, making sure everyone knows exactly what they're doing on their platform. Yeah, let the people know what's going on there. But sorry, I interrupted, Will. I'll throw it back to you.
Yes, the second point is that I see that Danny Nelson is reporting this live from Miami which is pretty cool. He's traveling down there to write up the story. I gave him a text the other day, and he said, "No, I can't help you with this thing. I'm in Miami reporting for CoinDesk." And now I see that's what the story is. So can I get a full loop here? Did you send him down there, Zach?
We're down there, like a whole little posse of people is down there. So Will Gottsegan, our NFT correspondent, is down there. Eli Tan, who does a lot of NFT and metaverse coverage, is down there. Christine Lee from CoinDesk TV, she's down there. So they're filming stuff. So yeah, Art Basel this year was taken over by a bunch of crypto dorks, and it's interesting to see that. So we sent a little squad down there. Yeah, we sent a little squad down there.
Respect.
Yeah.
Respect it.
So was Pitbull
it's no Bitcoin
partying with
Miami
all of these CoinDesk people?
I really hope so.
I can neither confirm nor deny that
really
they
so.
were hanging out with Pitbull last night. Can neither confirm nor deny. We're going to have to text Danny and see if we can get an update on that. But, we'll see.
Danny is too cool for all of us now, it sounds like.
Well, you know what? It is what it is. All right. Well, we're going to shut it down there. That was the hash for today. Thanks for sticking with us. We'll be back again tomorrow with all the latest in what's happening in the world of crypto and beyond. I'm Zach Seward. We got Will Foxley, Jen Sanasi, Naomi Brockwell here for the hash. We'd like to see you. Thanks for tuning in. And hey, have a great day.